Nikhil, walk us through all the developments that happened in the last 48 hours that eventually led to this decision and to this U-turn being made by the Pakistan Cricket Board.
Well, Anjali, things moved really fast in the last 48 hours or so. Hectic parleys was seen between the ICC, the Pakistan Cricket Board, and yes, you had a third party here in the Bangladesh Cricket Board. Remember, Bangladesh already ousted from the World Cup. They were removed from the tournament after they refused to travel to India to participate. So there were three parties involved, and all of these things happened really frantically and fast. It started with Pakistan inviting the Bangladesh Cricket Board president, Aminul Islam Bulbul, to come over and be part of that emergency meeting that was called between the Pakistan Cricket Board and an ICC delegation. That meeting went on for 5 hours in Lahore, where certain demands were made by the PCB. As things stand right now, and basis all that has come out from the three parties that were involved, it did seem like majority of those demands were pertaining to Bangladesh cricket. Because remember, that was the issue which Pakistan had raised. It had said that the International Cricket Council had been unfair to Bangladesh by removing them from the World Cup, despite their government, and not the board, but their government not allowing them to participate in India, a courtesy that ICC had earlier extended to a few other countries where they did listen to them, and when their government intervened, they allowed them to play in a different venue. That courtesy wasn't extended to Bangladesh, and Pakistan said that we're standing in solidarity with them, and that's why we boycott the India match. So when this meeting happened and when negotiations are on, we're now made to believe that Pakistan put forward all demands that Bangladesh would want, so that when they are okay, they're satisfied, they will then come and play that game versus India. Remember, why is it that the ICC was so keen to have Pakistan? Because as we all know, they've already sold their television rights, and the India-Pakistan game does fetch the lion's share when it comes to the ICC revenue. So those demands were met. Just to list down those demands that were met for Bangladesh Cricket Board by the ICC, one of them is that the ICC ensured in writing that they will take no action or any sort of sanctions would be put on Bangladesh despite them pulling out of the T20 World Cup or not traveling to India to play in the T20 World Cup at the 11th hour. That has also caused ICC a bit of embarrassment, and also some sort of revenue loss with Bangladesh pulling out last moment. But instead of taking action against Bangladesh, ICC has made it very clear, no sanctions on Bangladesh. That's the first thing that they promised Bangladesh. Then they've also given Bangladesh an extra tournament. Bangladesh was scheduled to host a Cricket World Cup in 2031 alongside India. Both countries were co-hosts. But ICC has promised them that between 2028 and 2031, we'll give you another tournament so that you can look at it as sort of a compensation for the loss that Bangladesh will have by not playing this particular T20 World Cup. Also, they've allowed Bangladesh to go to the committee in ICC where they could, appeal against ICC's decision for not having them in the T20 World Cup. So they have a recourse available that they can do when it comes to an internal functioning of the ICC. So these three things were promised to Bangladesh. Bangladesh then sent out a release. Bangladesh board saying that, listen, we are happy with what ICC has given us, and we would now request the Pakistan Cricket Board to reconsider the decision and play versus India. Then you had the official announcement from the Pakistan Cricket Board, whereby they said that because lots of other countries requested us, including Sri Lanka and UAE, and they called us and said that don't pull out of that game because it hurts the entire cricketing ecosystem. So keeping the cricketing ecosystem in mind, and also the fact that our grievance was that do justice to Bangladesh, and now that justice has been done to Bangladesh, we change our decision and we'll play India. So this is what all parties said. And from the ICC as well, they said, I mean, look at it from ICC's point of view. They're in a neutral body. They would have liked that everything goes as planned. And they, in that sense, are also happy that everyone has eventually shaken hands and decided
Absolutely, Nikhil. So it was not just the Bangladesh Cricket Board that urged the Pakistan Cricket Board to play against India. It was also the Sri Lankan Cricket Board and, in fact, the UAE Cricket Board also, which held a conversation with the Pakistan Cricket Board, urging it to make this U-turn and play against India.
बस अब थोड़ी देर में फैसला हो जाता है। हाँ, बस थोड़ी देर। अच्छी खबर आ रही है। हम तो हर वक्त अच्छी खबर के लिए होते हैं। अच्छा तो सर आईसीसी से तमाम मामला गए अपने बस देखिए आपने बांग्लादेश की स्टेटमेंट देखी होगी बांग्लादेश ने रिक्वेस्ट की है पाकिस्तान से कि हम मैच खेलें और डेफिनेटली उनके सारे मामला तय हुए दोनों ने बात की सर हम इस पोजीशन में है कि हम कुछ बात मनवा लें उनसे हमने बांग्लादेश के लिए स्टैंड लिया था उन्हीं की बात थी हमने अपने लिए कुछ नहीं किया
And my colleague Nikhilnaz continues to stay with us. Nikhil, do you think this was an expected move from the Pakistan Cricket Board? Because the force majeure tactic would not have worked anyway and the ICC sanctions were inevitable.
That's right, Anjali. I know you just heard from Mohsin Naqvi and he said that now that Bangladesh has gotten what it wanted, we are now ready to change our decision because we never asked for anything for ourselves. We only asked for Bangladesh. That is what you heard Mohsin Naqvi say. And to an extent, he's right. But let's not forget the entire picture. Now, if someone tells me that Pakistan actually just stood for Bangladesh, then, it's really hard to digest that particular statement because at the end of the day, you must realize that what could be the crux of the matter, what could be the core issue that Pakistan decided to boycott the India game. And it all boils down to what happened between the two countries in Asia Cup. There was a lot of drama that played out, India refusing to shake hands with Pakistan, later refusing to take the trophy from Mohsin Naqvi. I think those were the episodes that were really hurting Pakistan and especially the Pakistan Cricket Board and Mohsin Naqvi. So clearly he wanted an occasion, he wanted some sort of an incident that would help him to get something back at India. And I think that is what he got an opportunity in when Bangladesh had an issue with India and when they refused to travel to India. I think he saw an opportunity there then to threaten the ICC that we will not play India. And as I said, it all boils down to what happened in Asia Cup. So now when they have agreed, you're right. It's not that Bangladesh has gotten everything, so they're okay. Somewhere they also realized that they miscalculated. They thought that there'll be one clause in that agreement which will allow them to bail out, which would allow them that there will be no liability on them. Once they were made aware that by the ICC that listen, this is not going to work for you, you also face a major sanction from the ICC that could, eventually take Pakistan cricket 20 years back.
Right.
So I think that there was a realization. I think Pakistan also wanted ICC to that extent to come speak to them and just offer some sort of a, deal to Bangladesh. As soon as that was to happen, they were ready to, do a U-turn. I think it was from Pakistan's point of view, they just wanted to make a point. As soon as that point was made, they were more than happy to come back because who would want to risk so many sanctions from the ICC and also being risk being isolated in the world of cricket.
Nikhil, Pakistan Cricket Board and the Pakistan government continues to say that whatever they did was only for Bangladesh and they still stand shoulder to shoulder with Bangladesh.
Anjali, that we don't know if it is the entire truth or not. Of course, I'm just going to go by what the official statements are out, and we've heard from all the three parties. And as of now, whether it's the ICC, the Bangladesh Cricket Board, or the Pakistan Cricket Board, all have only spoken about the issue of Bangladesh at hand. However, that would not mean that other things may not have been raised in the meeting. There is a possibility that, of course, Pakistan may have tried to bargain for things for themselves as well. Once those things are not approved, then it's not necessary that they come out in the statement. So I'm saying the fact that they're not out officially in the statement wouldn't necessarily mean that Pakistan did not hanker for certain things for themselves as well. I think when it comes to bilaterals, whether they did ask for that or not still remains to be seen. But I would be very surprised if Pakistan did ask for that. Then they went to the wrong forum because, as you were just explaining, ICC does not decide whether two countries should continue to play bilaterals. It is something that has to be decided between the BCCI and PCB. And secondly, the kind of noises that we've been hearing from Pakistan, where they've said, okay, if India doesn't want to play us, we don't want to play them either. If that is really their stance, then why would they now be requesting for a bilateral series versus India? That is surprising. However, I think the the technicality here could be that maybe it was not a bilateral series. What I've been made to understand, maybe they were asking that there is a WTC cycle, World Test Championship, where most countries play against each other, and then the Test Champion of the world is announced. On that, there is no India-Pakistan game. So maybe the PCB did put forward this particular thing in front of the ICC, that if all other countries play and you decide the World Test Champion, how come there is no series between India and Pakistan? Which, as you just reported, ICC said that, this is not something that we can look at. The two other demands that they are asking for, the Bangladesh tour, once again, it is up to those two bilateral countries to be taking a call on that. It is not something that can be decided by the ICC. So clearly the demands, they were addressing it to the wrong panel. And that is why the ICC has turned it down. But as I said, in all of this, no matter what, Pakistan says or Bangladesh says, at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is that whichever way you put it, it is a U-turn by Pakistan. Because, the Prime Minister, not only did the government put it out on their official handle, he also announced it in the assembly saying, no question, we are not playing, come hell or high water, we're not playing India in this World Cup. For them to have turned around and now put it because, Bangladesh's demands were met and to things like that, I think it's a bit of face saving. Eventually, you'd have to compliment the ICC. What is ICC's role? It's a neutral body, right? To ensure that all countries stay together, the cricketing ecosystem stays together. And I think they've managed to pull that deal off. So credit where credit is due.
Pakistan was demanding that there should be no penalty on Bangladesh, but ICC made it clear that penalty on Bangladesh was in fact never on the cards.
Ajay, I tell you what is the most interesting bit about this decision? And a short while ago, I complimented the ICC for brokering a deal. And I think, that would have been their prime motive. But you must also compliment them for the fact that the way this deal has been struck, all the three parties that we've been talking about can come out, do a bit of chest thumping or pat themselves on the back and say, listen, we've won. And that's the beauty of how this entire scenario played out. I mean, clearly you can have the ICC say that our job is to, have all countries participate. And that's what their release also says. They also say that Bangladesh is a very important member of the ICC. And they want to, indulge with Bangladesh going forward, despite the fact that they had to remove them from this T20 World Cup. And they've got that one, showstopper of the World Cup, India-Pakistan game also back on track. So ICC can come out and say, listen, we've done our job, and they can claim victory. Pakistan, on the other hand, is already claiming victory, saying, see, we only stood up for Bangladesh. We've gotten all the demands for Bangladesh. Bangladesh is happy. And for the larger interest of cricket, because all other boards are also calling up, we have decided to, agree to play. But we got the ICC down on its knees. They came all the way to Pakistan to meet us. So we've gotten them down on our knees. So they are also claiming victory. Bangladesh, on their part, can also claim victory that, listen, we pulled out of the World Cup. We refused to go to India. But now, not only have they said no sanctions on us, they have also given us a recourse. We can go and appeal our case within a different committee in the ICC, which ICC earlier was saying you cannot go to. So now they're saying we've been allowed that. Plus, we've been given a freebie as well, which ICC has given us, that here's another tournament that we'll give you that should compensate for any losses that you'll have of not participating in the T20 World Cup. So Bangladesh also at the moment can claim victory. But I think in all of this, there is some sort of truth in all things that I mentioned, and everyone can claim victory. But I don't think any party has come out smelling of roses as well. I think you would want for ICC also going forward to call Pakistan's bogey to ensure that let India-Pakistan game not be the biggest draw, because how long can you allow Pakistan to hold ICC hostage? Maybe sell another
Absolutely.
game. India-Australia is most watched. England will be most watched. Sell it like that going forward, so then you don't have to backtrack and then fall for such tactics by Pakistan.
Absolutely, Nikhil. So in a nutshell, everyone is happy and every party is thinking that they have won this battle, be it the Pakistan Cricket Board, be it the Bangladesh Cricket Board, or be it the ICC for that matter. Now, after this controversy, how do you think it is going to have an impact on the viewership, which was anyway going to be high for this match? But after this controversy and all the boycott drama, how do you think it is going to impact the viewership now?
Well, I think it's going to go through the roof. Anjali, I was there during the Asia Cup, and that was another tournament that had its fair share of controversies between India and Pakistan, and that was an occasion where there were also calls for boycott. So, there was an uncertain time. We didn't know whether there will be enough takers for the India-Pakistan game, but as the tournament progressed, by the end of it, by the time the two teams played final, there was so much interest there because of all the things that happened on and off the field. And I think similar things you're going to see here. If you take a look at it from a cricketing point of view, India Pakistan now doesn't remain a very closely contested encounter. So it's not a game that will give you nail biting finishes. It's not a game that will see both teams coming out on top on different occasions, thereby keeping the fans engaged. It's a contest now, or in Surya Kumar Yadav, the Indian captain's word, which is a no contest because there is no rivalry anymore. India so far ahead in the last few years when it comes to competition versus Pakistan. So in terms of cricketing sense, it isn't a big draw anymore, but I think it's more because of the context and the historical context and the history that the two countries share that still becomes the biggest draw. And I think now with all of these things having played out right before that game, there will be a lot of interest, but with that there'll also be a lot of pressure on the players as well. And here I'd like to appeal to Indian fans, if they can ease off that pressure on Indian cricketers, because remember, India go in as the favorite. So if you do not bring everything that happened on the field and put it on the Indian team, then I think that will serve the Indian team much better, because if they play without pressure, if they play to form, 9 times out of 10, India is going to be beating this Pakistan team. That's the difference in terms of cricketing abilities between these two teams. So I know that the Indian team is very cool. The Indian captain, as I just mentioned, Surya Kumar Yadav, even during the Asia Cup, when I was there with all those things happening, he always came to the press conference with a smile. Tough questions were asked to him from the Indian side as well as Pakistani side, but he always answered them with a smile. And that clearly indicated that he was not taking too much pressure. The Indian team wasn't taking too much pressure. So I think if they continue with the same mindset, yes, there'll be a lot of interest. I must tell you, Anjali, I was checking the flight tickets to Colombo from Delhi. Usually it's about 25 to 30,000 rupees return ticket on an economy ticket from Delhi to Colombo. That had already touched a lakh and a half yesterday. I'm sure overnight and by this morning that's
All
also going to
right.
increase. So a ticket that would be costing 30,000 could be somewhere around 2 lakhs. So that's giving you an idea of the interest that there is for this game.
Absolutely, Nikhil. Absolutely. It's a much anticipated and much looked forward to match between India and Pakistan. The game is on. The viewership is going to be high due to this entire controversy, but so is going to be the pressure.